Hope everyone's doing well. Hope everyone's had an amazing trading week. So you know what time it is, this weekly overview hashtag free, and I'm going to be taking you through my not losing trades, my trades for the week, right? So some of them have been missed trades. It's been quite a slow week for me. I've missed some trades, but however I capitalized on a 1 to 39 on GU to end the week very strong, which I'll be taking you through at the end of this vid, so stay tuned for that. For now, I'm taking you through my gold trade, my missed gold trade. Bear in mind, this frustrated me at the start of the week. I think this was like Monday or Tuesday. But yeah, so let me just show you what I was looking at for that. So weekly, on the weekly, we are looking at this order block in here, right? This last real daily is more clear, I believe. Yeah, this last real down close before making this all-time high up in here, right? So this was the last real area of price where I feel like we are going to have a nice reaction of it to take this higher. Obviously, it's very far away to price. There's a lot of price action to still play out before we get into this area. By no means am I a financial advisor. I'm not telling you price has to get there. It can do whatever it wants, right? It doesn't have to do anything. But from my perspective, I do want to see these 1600 areas hit and this nice area of demand mitigated, right? So for now, what are we seeing? We are seeing, obviously, firstly, this last down close in here, that obviously we saw a nice reaction off of. This was from our previous vids, as you may have known, me seeing this from an accumulation point of view. We had a 1, 2, 3 drives higher, mitigating this point of interest, nice reaction. We caught some nice buys in there, but then obviously we came down and we broke these lows, right? So my perspective changed on this, and I am now continuing order flow to the downside as we're, clearly just making new lower highs and lower lows, right? So boom, as you can tell, we come into this 15-minute area of interest. So at the start of the week, I did take a small minor L. This was obviously due to we had a come down, mitigate this area of demand in here, mitigate this higher time frame 1 hour drop, rally base rally, or some whatever candle it is, right? And then we broke structure. This was the last low that made this last high, that made this low in here. So we broke that, and then we started to form some equal highs. I'm not going to go in detail on this trade, but yeah, we started to look at something in here based off of like a point of interest, an order block somewhere, and then yeah, we took an L on that. So that was to start the week, and then we broke down. Obviously, that's when I kind of took a step back. 1805 was achieved from last week. My perspective was 1805 or 1900 to be achieved before continuing down. However, it's now clear that 1805 was the target, and we are not going to reach them 1900 levels yet. So from that perspective, I changed, and I started to see this as potential for me to get in on some sales, right? So originally I was looking at this point of interest to take this lower. It didn't quite get achieved. As you can see, we formed some nice price action in here. We made some equal highs on the 1 minute. We actually mitigated that, manipulated that, and then price drove, making a new low, right? So obviously from then we were looking at sales again from this point of interest that was the last up close before the down. It was a 1 minute order block right in there, boom, then manipulated these highs and drove price lower, right? And so obviously, as you could tell, we started to form some liquidity before our point of interest, making this even more valid. And then we didn't quite get what we was looking for. We ended up just manipulating these equal highs again and going lower. So again, what was I looking at? Re-entries. So we now broke this low in here, and we've identified a wick on wick. Wick on wick on a 15-minute area of interest, right? So all of this price action was mitigated on the 1 minute up in here. So we didn't want to see any price come higher than this last 1 minute order block in here. So I took the open of this drop base drop, and yet again, what did we see? We price didn't get up into that area. We just made some kind of equal highs, and boom, I thought it was forming liquidity and we was going to tap into that, wick on wick in there, but we ended up just going lower, going towards my daily targets, which was daily lows, obviously, and boom, as you could say, we've wrecked that. So that was gold, right? So moving on to UCAD. UCAD was my next missed trade, which obviously ended up playing out brilliantly. This was frustrating because this was actually due to broker spreads, didn't actually trigger me in the trade, right? So I was a bit annoyed about this one, but what do we see? The analysis behind this one was daily. Obviously, we're seeing this as a larger daily accumulation, right? We obviously have our daily divergence, which is very strong because the longer we build a cause, right? The longer we build a cause, the bigger the effect. So that's just basic cause and effect. So as long as we're in this, the longer we are in this range, the bigger the reaction. So I'm not saying we are going to or we could, but we've obviously formed some nice, brilliant equal highs up in here. So obviously we've now come mitigated this last area of interest on the weekly, and obviously we are seeing reaction. So who knows, possibly these weekly equal highs may be taken. Not betting on anything, but it's just, you know, interesting to see. And obviously US dollar as well right now is suffering, so I doubt we'll see that anytime soon. But yeah, it's a long way away. But for now, price action in here, what do we see? Accumulation, we got our nice break of structure now, so going into next week we are looking at buys, but the trade we actually missed. Let's go through that now. So boom, I'll take you back into this in here. So as we approach that weekly area of interest, what do we see? We see a nice accumulation schematic. We've got a divergence on the 5 minute, you know, RSI is going up, price is going down. We have our sign of strength, we have our spring, we then have our break of structure to the upside. So this is a nice last down close before the break of structure. So this was our area of interest. We refined that down to the 78 fib and also the nice whole level of 1.24750. So this was a beautiful trade. Obviously we didn't get triggered in, but it played out brilliantly. So nice to see my analysis played out. And we now have broken some 4-hour structure in here, and probably going through these highs up in here before retracement and continue this higher to verify the accumulation, right? But for now, that is what we are looking at on UCAD. So yeah, that played out, boom, and I'll take you through the big boy, right? So GU, this was the 1 to 39 that saved my week, ended off the week very strong. So I'll take you through that real quick. I don't want to make this video too long. So as you can tell, I've had this area marked up for a very long time, right? This last weekly area of supply that formed this, you know, low, this last real, you know, downwards movement. So I refine that to a more daily, is probably more clear. You know, this daily hit, yeah, this daily I see in here that broke previous highs and drove price lower, right? So that was an area of interest. As we approach that area, boom, what do we see? A nice wick and a huge reaction off of that, right? Showing this is a strong level of supply. So boom, as we wicked that, boom, had a nice reaction. What do we see in the 15? So obviously price came up, mitigated around 50% of that wick. We then had a sell-off from this, you know, manipulation. Boom, we saw a reaction. So at this point, you know, we're still kind of bullish. Obviously, GDP's been very strong. However, there is a lot of price action to rebalance if we are going to continue going higher, breaking them highs, then weekly to daily highs. But for now, we were looking at some sells. So obviously, we got some areas in here and in here that we are looking for, some real demand areas that we could see potential reactions of. So that's why my targets were 1.3900, because as well as it being a nice psychological number, it's obviously in and around a nice area of inefficiency on the 8-hour and 4-hour, as well as I believe a daily institutional candle, right? So boom, and that's what we were looking at. For the entry, what do we see? Obviously now our narrative is looking for sales, because we are expecting a big sell-off, right? So we have been bullish for a while now. So we see we wicked into a point of interest up in here, nice order block, and then we started to form our 3 drives higher. We had our divergence. We had mainly for me this area of you know, this nice area of support where retail traders would be buying off, right? We've seen 1 touch, 2 touch, 3 touch, 4 rejections. So therefore we are looking at a strong level in here, right? All of these lows in here, there's liquidity sitting beneath. So, and therefore I was looking to take some trades. So after I got the verification of liquidity in the 1 minute, we see some nice reactions off of that POY, verifying that there is sellers coming into the market, and then we have a 5-minute drop base drop in here, which actually was my entry, and boom, we entered off of that. We could have entered off of the open. That would have been very sniper, and also higher risk of missing the trade, like the UCAD trade didn't fully trigger, right? But so we just opened at the enter of the wick. And yeah, obviously price over the course of Thursday and Friday just died. GU dropped about 250 pips in the space of 2 days, which was mad. So yeah, my first targets was obviously beneath these lows in here, these low resistance lows. So yeah, boom, I took partials down at 1.41200, and I just let the rest ride to my TPs. And as you can tell, we're seeing signs of accumulation in here. So we could either break down lower beneath these lows, or actually continue going higher. So yeah, we'll see how price plays out going into next week. Still unclear whether this wants to go lower or whether we are going to see that retracement, maybe to fill in some imbalance and then continue shorting, or continue how bullish we have been, respecting order flow to the upside, right? But yeah, they were my trades throughout the week. My 3 pairs I was focused on, but I will be taking you obviously through my next weekly overview next week, so stay tuned for that. Make sure you subscribe to the channel. Also join my Telegram, because that is where I send out my analysis, and also even some trades I'm looking at live, for you to possibly take off of your own, obviously, intuition. So yeah, we got that. And also my Instagram, drop me a follow on there as well. I post some content there for you to see. But yeah, thanks for the support.